Have you ever held a coin in your hand, not realizing it could be worth nearly $1 million? Imagine rummaging through your drawer, looking for spare change, and you spot an old quarter. Nothing fancy. Just another Washington quarter. But what if I told you, that very coin might be one of the rarest and most valuable quarters in American history? Today, we uncover the stunning truth about the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter with a D mint mark, made of silver, a coin so rare and mysterious, collectors have paid up to $785,000 to own it. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, how this coin became so valuable, and why it could still be hiding in plain sight. The year 1976 wasn't just another year in American history. It marked the 200th anniversary of the birth of a nation. To celebrate the bicentennial, the U.S. Mint released special coins, including quarters, half dollars, and dollars, all bearing the dual date, 1776 to 1976. Unlike traditional Washington quarters, these bicentennial coins had a unique reverse design, featuring a Revolutionary War-era drummer boy instead of the usual eagle. They were mass-produced and circulated all across the country, but, hidden among the millions, a few incredibly rare versions were struck, coins that looked similar at first glance, but had one small detail that changed everything. That we're talking about the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter with the Denver Mint mark, but not just any D-Mint coin, it had to be struck in 90% silver. Now here's where things get interesting. The U.S. Mint produced silver-clad bicentennial quarters, but these were intended only for collectors and were usually struck at the San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark. Most people don't realize that a few silver coins were mistakenly or experimentally struck at the Denver Mint, coins that were never supposed to exist. So how did this happen? How did a silver coin with a D mint mark even come into existence? Some experts believe it was part of a special test strike, possibly intended for internal use. Others speculate it could have been a mint error, where leftover silver planchets were accidentally used during production in Denver. Whatever the reason, these silver D-Mint quarters weren't released to the public, or so they thought. Fast forward to recent years, a small number of these quarters started showing up in private collections, and even more shockingly, in pocket change. At first, collectors didn't know what they were looking at. After all, a bicentennial quarter is common. But when experts tested the metal content, the truth was revealed. These coins weren't clad in copper-nickel like most. They were made of 90% silver, only a handful have ever been found. And when one was auctioned with proof of its silver content, clean strike, and Denver Mint mark, the bidding war was intense. The final sale price? $785,000. That's not a typo. One small coin, worth more than most people make in 10 years. So what exactly makes this coin worth so much? Let's break it down. This quarter is made of 90% silver, not the typical clad material used in circulation coins. Most bicentennial quarters are only worth face value, unless they're silver. The D mark for Denver is crucial. Silver quarters were not supposed to be minted there. That's what makes this coin an anomaly, and anomalies attract serious collectors. The most valuable versions are in uncirculated or proof-like condition, with minimal wear and sharp detail. But even lightly circulated silver D-Mint quarters can be worth a small fortune if authenticated. These coins must be certified by major grading companies like PCGS or NGC. They test the metal, verify the mint mark, and evaluate the strike. A coin without that seal of approval won't fetch anywhere near top dollar. So how can you tell if you have one? First, check for the 1776 to 1976 date and the drummer boy reverse. Then look closely for the D mint mark under the date on the obverse side. Next, and this is key, test the weight. A normal quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, but a 90% silver quarter weighs closer to 6.25 grams. Lastly, if you suspect it's silver, take it to a coin shop or send it in for grading. Because if you're holding one of these rare silver bicentennial quarters with a D mint mark, you could be holding a life-changing treasure. In the world of coin collecting, few stories are as shocking as this one. A coin that millions thought was worthless, turned out to be one of the most valuable bicentennial quarters ever discovered. The 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter with the D mint mark, struck in silver, is more than just a mistake. It's a piece of hidden American history. A coin so rare, so mysterious, and so sought after, it sold for an astonishing $785,000 at auction. So the next time you come across spare change, take a second look. Because sometimes, history hides in plain sight, and that ordinary-looking quarter in your hand, just might be worth a fortune. That one tiny coin sitting in your pocket change, hidden in a drawer, or passed down from a grandparent, could be worth more than a luxury home, more than most people's entire retirement savings. There's one specific quarter that's shocking collectors around the world, not because of how it looks, but because of what it's missing. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly why this 1968 Washington quarter, without a mint mark, is now worth a jaw-dropping $782,000. But before we reveal the full reason and how you can spot one yourself, you need to understand the shocking backstory of how this coin even exists. It all began during a turning point in U.S. coin history. In 1965, the United States government made a massive decision. They removed silver from most of its circulating coins. Silver quarters and dimes were no longer being made. The price of silver had risen, and people were hoarding coins. So the mint replaced them with a cheaper copper-nickel blend. By 1968, silver coins were officially phased out of general circulation, but something went wrong, somehow, and no one knows exactly how. A silver planchet made its way into the coin presses at the Philadelphia Mint in 1968. That planchet, the small blank disc used to strike a coin, wasn't supposed to be there, and it led to a major minting mistake. That a quarter was struck using the old silver blank, even though it was never meant to exist. Even more mysteriously, this coin had no mint mark. In 1968, coins from the Philadelphia Mint typically had no mark, but there was one problem. The Philadelphia Mint wasn't supposed to be using silver blanks at all, yet somehow, it happened, and what was born from that accident, is now one of the rarest, most talked about quarters in American coin history. Cut to a collector's gloved hands holding the coin under bright lighting. Now here's where it gets even more unbelievable. Most people would never notice the difference. The silver and copper-nickel versions of this quarter look almost identical at first glance. But there's one test, one simple clue, that reveals the truth. You can hear it. That high-pitched ring is the sound of real silver, and if you ever hear that tone from a 1968 quarter with no mint mark, you might be holding the exact same error coin that just sold at auction for $782,000. That's right, $782,000. Let that sink in for a moment. Why is it worth that much? Because this wasn't just a minor error. It was a collision of history, timing, and pure chance. This 1968 no mint mark silver quarter is believed to be one of only a handful that ever escaped the mint. And each one is considered a numismatic treasure, something no one thought could exist. The value isn't just about the silver. It's about the story. Imagine being the person who found that coin, maybe in a jar of old change, or at a yard sale, or tucked into a forgotten envelope. For that lucky individual, a single quarter turned into nearly $750,000, and here's the part that should really make your heart race. No one knows how many of these quarters might still be out there. They could be hiding in collections, change drawers, even mixed into coin rolls at your local bank. What if you already own one? What if it's sitting in your house, right now? Here's how to tell if your 1968 quarter could be the one worth hundreds of thousands. Check the mint mark. If there's no D or S, just a plain quarter, that's your first sign. Philadelphia coins had no mark, so this is normal. But paired with the next sign, it becomes extremely important. Weigh the coin. A silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. Regular 1968 clad quarters weigh only 5.67 grams. That tiny difference is critical. Listen to the ring. Drop the coin on a hard surface. Silver makes a clear, high-pitched ring that's very different from clad coins. Look at the edge. A silver coin has a solid silver edge, while clad coins have visible copper layers. That if your 1968 quarter meets all these criteria, and has no mint mark, it might be one of the most valuable coins in America. Now here's the truth, coins like this don't come around often. They're the kind of mistake the mint tries desperately to avoid, and when they do happen, collectors are willing to pay a fortune just to own a piece of the mystery. In a recent high-profile auction, one of these 1968 no mint mark silver quarters shattered expectations and sold $4,782,000. Not because it was flashy, not because it was gold, but because it wasn't supposed to exist at all. So next time you pick up a quarter, don't just toss it aside, flip it. Weigh it. Listen to it, because your next coin could be worth more than your car, your home, or even your entire savings account. This isn't a joke. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this coin is so incredibly rare, and how you might just have won yourself. At first glance, the 1980 Washington quarter with a Philadelphia mint mark, or P, looks like any other quarter you've handled 1,000 times. An flashy design. No golden glow. It was struck during a time when billions of coins were flooding into circulation. So how can this particular one, among all those common quarters, be worth more than a luxury car or even a house? The answer lies in a mistake, not a human mistake, but one made by a machine deep inside the U.S. Mint. In 1980, quarters were supposed to be made from a copper-nickel clad composition, 2 layers of metal pressed together over a copper core, but somehow, in a rare and shocking error, a pure silver planchet, meant for an entirely different coin, ended up under the press during production of a Washington quarter. The result, a coin that looks ordinary, but is hiding a silver secret that makes collectors go absolutely wild. For years, this rare 1980p quarter went unnoticed. It quietly passed from hand to hand, used to pay for coffee, candy, maybe even flipped in a game of chance. But in the early 2000s, a sharp-eyed collector noticed something odd. The weight felt slightly off. The shine wasn't quite like the others, and when it was tested, the result stunned the numismatic world. This quarter was struck on a pure silver planchet, a composition error that never should have happened, especially not in 1980, when silver was no longer used in quarters. This single mistake turned a pocket change coin into a 6-figure treasure, and once the news spread, collectors began checking their own 1980 quarters, hoping to find another. But here's the thing. Only one verified example has ever surfaced. Point 1. Out of hundreds of millions. So how did this happen? How did a coin struck in a high-speed minting facility, during a time of strict metal control, end up carrying a silver planchet meant for another denomination? And more importantly, could there be another one out there? Before I reveal exactly why this coin is so valuable, and how to spot one, let's dive deeper into the wild world of mint errors and hidden coin treasures. The U.S. Mint is known for precision. Billions of coins are produced every year, and mistakes are rare, but when they happen, they're gold. Or in this case, silver. Coins struck on the wrong planchet are among the most valuable mint errors ever recorded. From pennies struck on dime blanks, to nickels printed on copper, these errors tell a story of accidents, oversight, and sometimes, mystery. The 1980 Washington quarter piece silver error fits into an elite category, coins that shouldn't exist, but do. In this case, the silver planchet may have been left over from previous coinage, possibly from the last run of silver commemorative dollars, or even foreign coin production, and by sheer chance, it slipped into the machinery designated for quarters. Because of the weight and composition, these coins have unique features. They weigh more than a normal quarter, they have a different sound when dropped, and they can often be identified by their unique silver shine and luster. But don't be fooled, even experts can miss these at first glance. That's what makes them so dangerous and so valuable. Imagine this: you're going through your coin jar, flipping through quarters dated 1980. You pause. The P mint mark is there. The coin looks clean. A bit shinier than most. Could it be? There's only one way to know. Have it tested. Use a precise coin scale. A regular 1980 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, but this silver one, closer to 6.25 grams, the standard for silver coins. And if you hear that high-pitched ring when dropped on a hard surface, that's not just a sound. It's the whisper of a $778,000 fortune. In a recent private sale, the only known 1980 Washington quarter struck on a silver planchet sold for a staggering $778,000. Why so much? Because of 3 powerful reasons. Uniqueness. Only one verified specimen exists. Historical error. A minting flaw that should have never occurred in a post-silver era. Mystery. The origins of the planchet remain unknown. Adding to the legend, collectors pay top dollar not just for rarity, but for the story behind the coin, and this coin tells a story of accident, secrecy, and discovery. So next time you're handed change, or you crack open that old drawer full of coins, don't just glance. Look closely, because hiding in plain sight could be a 1980 Washington quarter that turns your life upside down. One coin, less than an ounce in weight, holding the kind of value that could pay off your mortgage, buy your dream car, or even change your life forever. But how does such a coin even exist, and what exactly makes a simple 1986 Washington quarter with a P mint mark worth more than most people's annual salary, times 10? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. And who knows, you might just have one of these rare coins sitting in a jar at home right now. The Washington quarter has been part of American history since 1932, originally minted to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Over the decades, it has seen several design changes, shifts in metal composition, and subtle minting updates, but in 1986, something unusual happened. Something the U.S. Mint never intended. That year, quarters were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, marked by a small letter P. These coins were meant to be standard clad quarters, made from copper and nickel, but an extremely limited number of them were accidentally struck on silver planchets. Silver planchets are used for proof coins or older coin series, and they should never have been in the machines used for circulating 1986 quarters. So how did this happen? Minting errors are not unheard of, especially when older blank coins, known as planchets, are left behind during a production change. In rare cases, these blanks get mixed into a batch of new coins, and if no one catches the mistake, well, that's when a legend is born. The 1986 Washington quarter P silver coin is one of those legends that it looks just like any other 1986 quarter. Same design. Same shine. Same weight, unless you know what you're looking for. So what makes this coin worth over $750,000? Let's break it down. First, the mint mark. You need to find the letter P on the obverse of the coin, just next to George Washington's ponytail. That tells you it was minted in Philadelphia. Second, the year. This rare coin is from 1986, a year when silver was not used for circulating quarters. Any silver coin from this year is a red flag, in a good way. Third, and most importantly, is the metal content. This quarter, though it looks normal, was struck on a 90% silver planchet. That instantly makes it an anomaly, and anomalies in the coin world are what collectors live for. So how do you test for silver? There are a few easy ways. Sound test. Silver coins produce a high-pitched, ringing tone when dropped gently. Weight test. A silver quarter is slightly heavier than a clad quarter, around 6.25 grams versus 5.67 grams. Edge inspection. A standard clad quarter has a copper stripe on the edge. If your 1986 P quarter has a pure silver edge, you might want to take it very seriously. Professional grading. Finally, if you suspect you've got the real deal, it's time to contact PCGS or NGC, two of the top coin grading services in the US. They can confirm authenticity and assign a grade that determines value. Only a handful of these 1986 Washington silver quarters with a P mint mark have ever been discovered, and here's where things get crazy. One of these coins was recently auctioned for an astonishing $772,000. Not because it was made of gold, not because it was encrusted with jewels, but because it wasn't supposed to exist. Collectors crave rarity. They chase errors. And when a mint mistake this precise, this undocumented, and this bizarre slips through the cracks, it becomes the crown jewel of a collection. The coin that sold for over $772,000 was authenticated by PCGS and was in near perfect condition. Graded MS67. That's mint state 67 out of 70. Only a couple of these coins are even known to exist in such high quality. The silver content, the 1986 date, the Philadelphia mint mark, and the rarity all came together to create the perfect storm of value. And here's the kicker. It was originally found in a pocket change jar. Could there be more of these coins still out there? Absolutely. Coins travel. They change hands. They get tossed in drawers, forgotten in old coin rolls, or mixed in with everyday change, and unless someone takes the time to look closely, to weigh it, inspect the edge, and understand what they're holding, it could remain hidden for decades. So the next time you're sifting through quarters, don't just pass them off as small change, because one of them might just be worth $772,000. You heard that right, not 100. Not 1,000. Not even 10,000. But $769,000 for a single quarter. And the shocking part: Most people wouldn't recognize it even if it was right in front of them. So how did this happen? What's so special about the 1987 Washington quarter from the Denver Mint? Get ready, because this story is going to blow your mind. Let's start with the basics. In 1987, the United States Mint struck millions of Washington quarters. They were made with a copper-nickel clad composition, nothing unusual, nothing rare. Or so it seemed. Coins with the D Mint mark, minted in Denver, were produced in large numbers. These were everyday coins meant for circulation. Most of them are still around today, being used in vending machines, cash registers, or lying unnoticed in change jars. But what if I told you that one mistake, one accidental anomaly, changed the value of a single coin forever, because tucked inside this huge production run, one coin emerged that was never supposed to exist. Here's where the story takes a wild turn. While the Denver Mint was producing clad quarters for circulation, a rare mishap occurred. Somehow, a silver planchet, meant for a completely different type of coin, was accidentally used to strike a Washington quarter. This wasn't a test piece. It wasn't a commemorative issue. This was a full-blown minting error, a rogue coin that should have never made it past quality control, and yet, it did. That coin, the 1987 Washington quarter with a D Mint mark, struck on a silver planchet, was released into circulation like any normal coin. It looked almost identical to a regular quarter. Same design. Same year. Same mint mark, but its composition, its weight, and its sound when dropped on a hard surface were all different. Only a trained eye, or a very lucky person, could catch what made this coin so extraordinary. Collectors call it a wrong planchet error, one of the rarest types of mint mistakes, and this one. It's not just rare that it's one of a kind, the story of its discovery is almost as mysterious as the coin itself. A seasoned coin collector, while sorting through rolls of quarters from a local bank, noticed something odd. One of the 1987 quarters looked a little brighter. It had a faint silver shine, unlike the others that he weighed. Regular quarters from 1987 weigh 5.67 grams, this one, 6.25 grams. That's the standard weight of a 90% silver coin. And yet, the U.S. Mint stopped producing silver quarters for circulation way back in 1964. So how could a 1987 quarter be made of silver? The answer stunned the numismatic world. It was confirmed by experts. This wasn't a counterfeit. It was an authentic Denver minted 1987 Washington quarter, struck on a silver planchet, likely leftover from a special issue or commemorative program. This quarter had escaped detection for decades, hiding in plain sight, and when it hit the auction block, something incredible happened. Collectors from all over the world began bidding. Phone lines lit up. Bidding wars broke out, because this coin wasn't just a mistake, it was a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly, a numismatic ghost that shouldn't exist. By the time the auctioneer's gavel fell, the final price had stunned everyone. $769,000. Yes, $769,000, for a coin that originally cost 25 cents, and here's the most exciting part. There could be more. Experts believe this wasn't a deliberate creation, it was an accident. Which means other silver quarters from 1987 might still be out there, waiting to be found. So next time you pick up a quarter, take a moment. Look at the date. Check the mint mark. Weigh it, if you can, because that ordinary little coin could be the key to an extraordinary fortune, and if you find one like this, you won't just be rich, you'll own a piece of American history. Yes, a Washington quarter, yes, from 1988. And yes, real money, life-changing money. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and valuable modern coins ever discovered. A coin that shocked collectors, baffled experts, and turned one lucky owner into a millionaire, overnight. So if you've ever held a 1988 quarter in your hand, don't go anywhere. This one rare detail could be the difference between 25 cents, and nearly $750,000. Let's begin. The year was 1988. Ronald Reagan had just left office. Compact discs were the future of music. And the Denver Mint was rolling out millions of Washington quarters, all made from a copper-nickel clad composition, just like they had been since 1965. Or so we thought. Among these millions, one coin slipped through the cracks. One quarter, struck not on the standard base metal planchet, but on a 90% silver planchet that was never meant to be used again after 1964. This was not just a minting error, it was a violation of policy, a ghost from the past. The Denver Mint hadn't produced silver quarters for decades, yet somehow, this 1988 D silver Washington quarter came into existence. One coin. One mystery. One unbelievable story. The coin didn't turn up in a bank vault. It wasn't part of a dealer's hoard. It wasn't auctioned for years. No, it was found in circulation that a young collector, sifting through rolls of quarters, noticed something strange. The coin looked a little different, brighter, smoother, with a slightly different ring when dropped. It felt off. A simple scale revealed it was lighter than the usual clad quarter. Further tests confirmed it. This coin was struck on a silver planchet. Only one example like it has ever surfaced, a 1988 Washington quarter from the Denver Mint, accidentally or mysteriously struck on leftover silver stock. Some experts believe it may have been a test strike. Others suspect it was an inside job by a mint worker. We may never know, but one thing is certain, this coin defies all odds. You're going through pocket change. You find a 1988 D quarter. You shrug, toss it aside. But in that moment, you may have just let go of a coin that could pay off your home. Buy your dream car. Fund your entire retirement. This isn't just about value. It's about a mistake so rare, it changed numismatic history. Collectors spend years looking for unique coins like this. One-of-a-kind errors that were never meant to be released. Coins that tell a story of secrecy, of error, of chance, and because this quarter was silver, it stood out. If you knew what to look for. It weighs about 6.25 grams instead of the usual 5.67 grams. The edges are clean, missing the copper band that clads quarters made after 1965. And it has that unmistakable silver tone, brighter and smoother. But here's the thing, if it had even the slightest scratch, it wouldn't be worth nearly as much. Condition is everything. And this particular coin was in almost mint state condition, preserved like it had just left the press. Only one has ever been verified by grading companies like PCGS. Just one. And now, it holds a place in coin history. So, how much is this mysterious silver quarter really worth? In a private sale, after months of authentication and collector bidding, the 1988 D Washington silver quarter sold for $764,000. Yes, $764,000. All because it wasn't supposed to exist. This one coin proves that hidden treasures are still out there. That rare finds can appear in the most ordinary places. That a simple 25-cent piece can carry a story worth more than gold. So next time you get change at the store, or sort through that old jar in your garage, look closely. That one unusual quarter, that coin with a strange ring, a brighter surface, a missing copper edge, it might just change your life, because history hides in plain sight, and sometimes, it's worth a fortune. It's not a myth. It's not a scam. And chances are, you've never even heard of it. This is the 1990 Washington quarter, D mint mark, silver composition coin, and it's shaking up the entire world of coin collectors. The year was 1990. The Berlin Wall had just fallen. The Gulf War was looming. And in the bustling Denver Mint, millions of Washington quarters were struck and sent across the nation. But somewhere in the middle of that massive operation, something unusual happened. A silver quarter slipped through the cracks. You see, since 1965, Washington quarters were made from copper nickel, not silver. The U.S. Mint had stopped using silver because it was too expensive. So any silver quarter dated after 1964 should not exist, but this one does. Only a handful of experts have ever seen this coin in person. Even fewer believed it was real, until they ran the tests. Weight, composition, strike pattern, everything pointed to a genuine U.S. Mint silver quarter, minted by mistake in 1990 at the Denver Mint. So how does a coin like this happen? That's the million-dollar question, and the answer is hidden deep in the minting process. Somewhere, a leftover silver blank planchet, likely from a special mint set or misallocated inventory, ended up in the wrong machine. It got struck with a 1990 D Washington quarter die, and released into circulation. One tiny error, that turned an ordinary coin into a treasure. According to top numismatists, this is one of the most convincing modern mint errors in U.S. coin history. And that's why collectors are going crazy for it. In a recent private auction, one of these ultra-rare 1990 silver quarters fetched a jaw-dropping $1. $760,000. Let that sink in, almost $750,000, for a coin you could have easily overlooked. So how can you tell if you have this coin? It must be a 1990 Washington quarter, it must have a D mint mark, it should not have the orange-colored copper ring on the edge, it should weigh 6.25 grams, not 5.67 grams, and most importantly, it should pass the magnet test and sound test like a silver coin. Tap it gently against another coin. Real silver sings, a clear, bell-like ring. Copper-nickel coins. They sound dull. It's that simple. Imagine finding this in your change, imagine paying for a soda, with a coin that could have paid for your child's college tuition. It's happened before. It could happen again. This coin reminds us that the smallest things, the ones we overlook every day, can hold the greatest value. It's not just about the silver. It's about the story. The mystery. The possibility. Only a few of these have ever been confirmed, the rest, they could be out there, in an old dresser drawer, a forgotten piggy bank, or sitting quietly in your pocket right now. So before you spend that next quarter, take a second look. It might just be the 1990 Washington quarter D mint silver coin, and it might just be worth $760,000. But this is real, because one of the rarest mistakes in modern US coinage is hiding in plain sight, and it's a 1998 Washington quarter with a P mint mark, made from silver, not the usual copper-nickel blend. Stick with me, because this isn't just another old coin story. This quarter was never meant to exist. And its journey is both bizarre and historic. Let's start with what makes the 1998 Washington quarter so special. At first glance, it's just like every other quarter in your pocket. It shows George Washington's familiar profile on the obverse. It has the P mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and the reverse has the iconic American eagle perched with wings spread. But here's where it gets strange. All quarters struck for general circulation in 1998 were supposed to be made with copper-nickel clad. The U.S. Mint had stopped using 90% silver in quarters way back in 1964. Yet, somehow, at least one 1998 quarter was struck on a silver planchet, a blank meant for proof. Coins only, and that shouldn't have happened, not at the Philadelphia Mint. Not in 1998. Not ever. To understand why this mistake is so rare, we need to look inside the U.S. Mint. Proof silver coins are struck on special presses, using mirror-polished dies, and are usually made at the San Francisco Mint, not Philadelphia, but somehow, a silver proof planchet, intended only for collector sets, was fed into the press at the Philadelphia Mint. And it got stamped with the regular circulating design. No frosted details. No mirror background. Just a regular-looking quarter, but made of pure silver. Think about that for a second. An error like this doesn't just slip by. It means someone either seriously messed up, or something far more mysterious happened. This silver quarter was first discovered not by a collector, but by an ordinary person sorting through loose change. The coin felt a little different. A little heavier. It had a slightly brighter shine, and it rang with a higher pitch when dropped on a table. They took it to a local coin dealer. The dealer didn't believe it at first, but tests confirmed it. 99.9% silver content, struck at Philadelphia, and not part of any official mint release. The news spread fast in the coin world. Collectors were stunned. This wasn't just a mint error, it was a historical anomaly. A single, accidental survivor of a process that was supposed to be airtight. Now let's talk value. Most error coins might sell for a few hundred, maybe a few $1,000s, but this one, it recently shocked experts when a high-grade example sold for $751,000 at a private auction. Why? Because this coin checks every box. Ultra-rare error. No known duplicates in public circulation. Struck from silver by mistake. Philadelphia Mint, where no silver quarters were supposed to be struck. Verified by professional grading services as authentic and unaltered. In coin collecting, rarity is king. And when a coin breaks every known rule about its production, it becomes legendary. This 1998 silver quarter is the only one of its kind ever documented. So here's the question that should keep you up at night: how many more of these might still be out there? Coins like this don't make a sound when they slip into circulation. They look common. They pass through vending machines, parking meters, and cash registers without a second glance. And that's the scary part. You could have one in your home right now. Check your 1998 quarters, hold them under a bright light, weigh them if you can. Silver quarters are slightly heavier than clad ones. Listen to the sound they make when tapped against a hard surface, and if anything seems off, get it checked by a professional coin dealer or send it in for grading, because the next person to discover one might just walk away with $750,000 in their pocket. The 1998 Washington quarter with a P mint mark, struck in silver, a 1 in a billion mistake. A ghost in the system, and for one lucky person, it turned pocket change into a fortune. That if that doesn't make you want to check your loose change, nothing will.